Adab, Salam, Namaskar. Welcome to New India Education Trust Motivation web series. Friends, in this series, we bring you the personalities from diversified field. And today we have a guest with us who had been into education, who has done his MSc, B.Ed from Regional Institute of Education, which is formerly known as RCE, Mysore, Regional College of Education. And that has been, this has been the pioneer institution in the teachers training, and that has been under the NCERT. Mr. Prem Kumar is a silver medalist, a second rank holder in his postgraduate studies. His career is more than 35 years. He started his career at the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam, formerly known as Reactor Research Center, and he researched on estimation of uranium in spent fuel. Then he came into the field of education as a teacher to Muscat, and he started as a teacher as a TGT, then he became PGT, then HOD, and then vice principal, and then became the principal in the same organization. So, gentlemen, let us welcome our today's guest, Mr. Prem Kumar, and we would like to listen from him his own success story. Welcome, sir, to this motivation web series.
Thank you, Dr. Anis. I'm privileged to be on your show this evening. I would like to thank each and everyone out there for listening to us. Well, my whole career, I should say, started with my outstanding education with the Kendriya Vidyalaya schools all over in India. I'm a graduate finally from the Kendriya Vidyalaya number 1, Kalpakkam.
Okay.
And yes, and from there I went on to do my Bachelor in Science Education at Regional College of Education, Mysore, which is currently known as Regional Institute of Education, Mysore, one of the 4 regional institutes for producing outstanding teachers by the NCERT.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yes, and I did my BSc Ed, it is called Bachelor of Science Education, and I did creditably well, and therefore my professors were recommending that I should continue with them and do my Masters in Science Education. And there I got a seat for MSc Ed, Master in Science Education, with chemistry as my major. Because while in undergraduate course, one of my role models was my chemistry professor, Dr. V. Keshavan. I wanted to become a teacher like him one day and emulate his teaching techniques and his style of teaching. That was my passion when I was a graduate student. Okay. So I enrolled for my master's program. And I must mention here that the Government of India, NCERT, gave me grant for doing my bachelor's as well as my master's degree. I received scholarship for both the courses, and I did extremely well in my master's degree compared to my bachelor's degree, made my college proud as I am a second rank holder there. And then I went on to write several competitive examinations as that was the encouragement I received from my father as well as my older brother. I got through a number of examinations, and the first result that came was from ONGC, and I went there to Calcutta, and I was with them 6 months as a trainee when I received another news that I cleared the BARC, Baba Atomic Research Center test. Then I got into the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research in Kalpakkam. Okay. And I worked with the reactor reprocessing unit, and I worked there for a couple of years, and I was researching on separation of uranium-U-30 232 from the
Mhm.
spent fuel of Tarapur.
I see.
Yes. And while I was doing my work in Kalpakam, my mind was always troubling me because I wanted to become like my professor, Dr. V. Keshavan, and here I am doing a research. So somehow I spent several sleepless nights thinking over that.
Mhm.
And when there was an opportunity for a teacher's position at Muscat,
Okay.
I applied just casually thinking that if they see my college name, probably they would call me for an interview and then I can show my worthiness. And it exactly happened because I never had a teaching experience. And my principal, Mr. Leo Lobo, I'm sure Dr. Anis, you will know him.
Yeah, surely. I know him. Yeah. I
Yes,
met him several times.
correct. He invited me for an interview at Bombay, and I did my demonstration so well. He was impressed and offered me a science teacher's post at Muscat.
That
And
shows, Mr. Prem Kumar, that you, from the very beginning, you wanted to be a teacher. You are not into this profession by force, but you came into this profession by choice.
Absolutely, Dr. Anis. That's the reason why today also I am known as a teacher in the society than a principal. So I'm proud of that. So I reached, I reached the shores of Oman, and from there I never looked back. Though I was one of the youngest teacher to have joined Indian School Muscat under the leadership of Mr. Leo Lobo, I quickly gathered strength and I started teaching well. And when there was an opportunity to become the PGT in 1988, that is 5 years after I joined Muscat, I was offered the PGT chemistry post and set up the lab for the school. And the first batch of 1989 was a successful batch. And then in 6 years' time, under Mr. Bharadwaj, another principal, you must have heard about him, Yashpal Bharadwaj.
Yeah.
I was promoted as the department head of chemistry. And after 5 years of my successful story as a HOD, I was promoted to the rank of a vice principal of the senior section of the Indian School Muscat by Mr. M.M. Joshi, another very, very senior reputed principal who was in Jabriya Indian School, I understand, in Kuwait.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah, correct. And he promoted me to the rank of department head. And then under Ainsley Edgar, I got promoted as the principal of the branch of Indian School Muscat at Indian School Al-Seeb.
Wow, Mr. Prem Kumar, I think it's a great feat that working in the same organization for 20 years, 8 years, starting as a TGT science and then reaching to the level of principal in the same organization, I must say, and it's a great feat.
Yes. It's remarkable, Dr. Anis, because we had several outstanding teachers and outstanding faculty heads at Indian School Muscat.
It's a big school.
It's a very big school, and to compete with them is a challenge.
Naturally.
And at Indian School Muscat, the merit always triumphed over anything else.
Yeah.
It was all based on the merit. So I was really impressed with the career progression that I made. Every 5 years, I was promoted. And in 2010, I decided to say goodbye to Muscat, as both my children, they finished their +2 at Indian School Muscat. And I was offered some outstanding positions back in India.
Yeah.
So I tendered my resignation and I was willing to go back to India. It is at that time, I got a call from Kuwait that Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan school wants me here.
Yeah.
Since my spouse is an ex-Bhavanite in India, she told me that we should work with the Bhavans. Bhavans is a very good organization. So I came down to Kuwait in 2010. And here I am with you today, Dr. Anis, working alongside in Kuwait as a principal of.
Yeah. Before we come to Kuwait, I would like to ask you about, you got, in the Indian School Muscat Alumnus Association, I think they recognized you as the best teacher.
Yes, at Boston, USA, in Simmons College, I was voted as the best teacher. Yes.
Yeah, and then I mean that is what as a teacher we are always proud of, that our own children, our own students, they recognize us and they remember us and they love us. I think that
Even
is the
today.
best part. As a teacher, I too feel like that. That if my students, they love me, that is my achievement. That is our achievement as a teacher.
Yes, at the end of the day, the only person who can judge you is your students. No one else.
No doubt about that.
No one else, because they are unbiased in their criticism or in the way they praise you or recognize you. They are very clean at heart, and I'm sure this recognition goes a long way in my career. And of course, I received the Best Teacher Award from CBSE in 2016 as well.
Yeah. And then in 2010, you moved to Kuwait, to Bharati Vidya Bhavan, Indian Educational School, which is again one of the best Indian schools in Kuwait. And you are there now. And then I've seen you very active in the affairs of Gulf Council, the CBSE affiliated schools in the Gulf.
Yes.
So you have been very active in that.
I'm
How
still
have you
very
been
active.
managing all that?
Yeah, I'm still active with the Gulf Council, and I've taken a lot of interest to improve the coordinated efforts of Gulf Council in making our Gulf chapter stronger. That is, I devote my times after my school hours for self-learning, as well as to assist others in the field of academics and administration. So since I devote a lot of time for others, people fall over my shoulders when it comes to seeking advice or taking help. So I never mix my official hours with my personal me time. I have a me time which is used for my students, my teachers, and all colleagues across the Middle East. So I got into the Gulf Council, the top members of the Gulf Council's family, as a member who shows a lot of interest in the affairs of the Gulf Council and uphold its, the values that it always had before I became a principal.
Yeah, and you also became the chairman of the Gulf Council.
Yes, I became the chairman of the Gulf Council after I came down to Kuwait. And we had some memorable conferences organized under my leadership at Chennai, as well as when I was a vice principal a principal at Oman in 2009.
Yeah.
We organized the conference, a memorable conference. Yeah, I use all my...
I was present in that conference.
Absolutely, yes. You remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to know something about, you had mentioned about the Nagpur, that, International Principals Educational Conference, where you presented a paper.
Yes.
What was that paper about?
That paper was about how sports...
Yeah, generating happy minds.
Yes, sports, art, music, dance can generate happy minds in school. I'm a strong believer of this, that any student who can play well, who can sing well, or who can draw well, paint well, dance well, speak well, is a more successful student in life than a person who is just sitting in front of the books and only reading and writing what is in the book.
Yeah.
Because the Kendriya Vidyalaya education that I had for 12 years, I had been a student of Kendriya Vidyalaya, and Kendriya Vidyalaya is known for promoting sports, games, art, music, dance, whatever extracurricular activities you name it. I had gone through that while I was at Kendriya Vidyalaya.
We can easily say that Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, that is running the Kendriya Vidyalayas, these schools, we can say that these are the best government-run schools in India.
Absolutely, yes. And believe me, it shapes your life. It takes care of your health, your mental well-being, your social well-being, and it controls your I should say it develops your leadership potential as well.
That's right.
And makes you a fantastic student who's well balanced, EQ, SQ. All these are taken care at Kendriya Vidyalaya schools.
So I must say, Mr. Prem Kumar, that you have been very fortunate to have your schooling at Kendriya Vidyalaya.
Yes, I thank my father, who was a government servant and helped all of us grow in style, I should say, and become good human beings through 12 years of fantastic teaching. I can speak fluent Hindi, though I am a South Indian.
Yeah.
That's right. I thank Kendriya Vidyalaya for that.
That's correct. Anyway, we are coming to the end of the first part, and in the second part, we'll be talking about your role as a tele-counselor that CBSE had appointed you. We'll be talking about that. So we take a short break here.
Thank you.
So friends, that was our guest today, and we were listening to his success story. A man who got the second rank in the university, got silver medal at the post-graduation level. He had his education through Kendriya Vidyalayas, central schools. He started his career as a scientist, as a researcher, and then moved to Sultanate of Oman, Muscat, as a teacher. And then in the same school, he worked for 28 years, the same organization, and moved from TGT science to the principal in the same organization. That was an excellent feat that was achieved by Mr. Prem Kumar. We will continue our discussion with him in the next part of this episode, and we will talk about his role as a tele-counselor, where we will ask him to give some tips to the students, those who are writing their board examination for 10th and 12th. If you like this conversation, kindly like and share and subscribe to this channel, New India Education Trust Beyond Classroom. This is your own channel. Thank you. Shukriya. Dhanyavad. Have a great time.